February the 6th, 2023. Guys, drone images coming out of, I think this is Anadolu, Turkey. Some still images at the end are. But complete devastation, row after row of these housing units. And every few hours the death toll goes up. It started out at 700 and it went to 1,000, 2,000, now over 3,000. And with the secondary quake that hit, they had another strong 7 before daylight. And as they were outside trying to dig through this, other buildings started collapsing, people trying to run out of those. Been hit hard. And look at this. You got 3,000 dead already, and they haven't even had a full day yet to start looking as they're running from other quakes. There's been several aftershocks all through that area. But there's biblical references here, and I'd like to talk about that somewhat again. I think these are Anadolu, Turkey. But you imagine how long it's going to take to dig through that, and now you've got snow coming in on top of it. So, again, another biblical reference in the sense that pray that your flight not be in the winter. And because this affected not just here, it was felt all the way into Israel. It was felt into Syria and Jordan, as a matter of fact. And Jordan is mentioned in Isaiah along with Damascus. Jordan is called AR or R. Look at this. This is from the Yeni Mosque in Malatya, Turkey. Lies in the ruins after the quake, as you see the snow coming in. Now, Isaiah 17 mentions Damascus and the ruin of Damascus. It was shaken. It was not hit as hard as some of the images that you're seeing there. That's why I think that we're seeing birthing pains that are going to start rapidly advancing. God is giving us a warning of what's about to happen. Now, that's the people that were killed in these quakes already. They've already met their maker. You understand how close this is, and we've seen it before, and this is the most active fault zone on the planet. But now things are really getting serious. We've got wars coming to the area. Looks like Israel's going to get involved. We've got earthquakes. Now, this is the fault zone. It runs right down between Jerusalem and the Dead Sea. Christ is going to set that foot on the Mount of Olives, and that will be the greatest quake ever seen on the planet. We just got a taste. We just got a wake-up call. And, guys, I don't know what to tell you again. Damascus will lay in ruins, and that goes through history. Damascus has been attacked and all, but it always survived as a city. This time it won't. Not during that great quake. You can see your additional 7-point quake here. But this fault zone, guys, that's amazing that this many quakes are in this large of an area and being the strongest, coming out of the Mediterranean, going right up into basically the Syrian and Turkey border and through this great valley. Now, that valley is a major fault zone there that is tied to the red line that you see running south into Jerusalem. But as you pull it up and look at the terrain, changing your map out a little, you'll see what we're dealing with. Again, the red line that runs all the way down and runs into the Red Sea is the main fault zone talked about in the Bible. But we're talking about Turkey, Syria, Jordan, all of these areas getting hit. Georgia felt it. But you can see here along this area where this part of the land comes out of the Mediterranean, that long gap. It looks like the San Andreas, which, by the way, we're dealing with the fall of Babylon. We're dealing with the warnings from God. California, be on your toes. The San Andreas is very slippery. And after watching, what was it, the Grammys last night, guys, I didn't watch it. I saw a couple of news things on it and how it was a demonic thing, kind of like the Super Bowl is every year. But it's just getting bad in California. And you've got a fault zone there that you know is dangerous. Just think about what God is getting ready to do. That's all I'm asking. Now in the gray, this is the area that we're talking about. The white area is the Mediterranean Sea over out on the African plate. But the red lines, guys, are the major faults that go through Turkey all the way up to Istanbul. The one to the very far right, down in this area, is where we're seeing the quakes now as it comes out into that valley going into Turkey itself. The other two have not become active yet that go all the way to Istanbul. I think when we see that one happen, and I think we're getting ready to do it, we're getting very close because we got this war. When this war turns and goes south, guys, it's not going to last months. We're talking about the trumpets going off, and trumpets in battle go off very quickly, one after the other. It's not a long time. It's a call to action, one way or the other. Now, in the white, the African plate is pushing against the Arabian plate that's onshore there, but it says the Anatolian transform fault system is probably the most active in the world. It separates the Eurasian plate from the Anatolian plate in northern Turkey. Some of the most destructive earthquakes in history have been caused by movement along this fault. Lake Hazar lies along the East Anatolian transform fault. And a lot of that area, guys, just like lakes in the U.S., have been created by quakes. Here is the red areas. This is the danger zone. Notice the one that comes down through Beirut, Lebanon. You've got Damascus. This goes all the way down through Jerusalem. This is the one that's very active right there. It comes from pointing up through Cyprus. But notice how many fault zones are on this tip of Turkey. And the top one that is not active at this moment goes all the way to Istanbul. You got the Black Sea here. You got Crimea, Russia right here on to the right, Georgia. And think about it, when Christ sets his foot down, where all of this is going to take place. But it will be the greatest quake we've ever seen. Now notice in the center, the orange line, that's called the Dead Sea Transform, and that's the one that Christ is talking about. But it will be felt across the planet. Right now we're dealing with the pink East Anatolian fault, and the North Anatolian fault leads all the way across Turkey, just under the Black Sea. A lot of this area is going to be changed very quickly. This area you're looking at is going to move south with Russia. Probably Georgia may be included in that. Belarus, we know they are with Russia. Something's going to happen to turn them away from the move that they're moving west. We're talking about the army that's going to destroy Babylon. That's why I mentioned California. Look at what we're seeing. It's all over the nation, but just for an example, in your face on TV every time there's a Super Bowl there or any Super Bowl anywhere, but the awards show, the Oscars, the Grammys. Look at what's happened to them. And it's in your face, but it's in your face stupid because you have the eyes and ears to see. You can walk through the valley of the shadow of death. You know it? That's not going to affect you. It's just that I prefer not to waste my time watching it, but when it pops up in the headlines, you can't help but see it. Now, it's, to me, again, very stupid. It's a defeatist thing because they are going to lose. They're going to try to bring back about as much destruction as they can as they go down, of course. But Babylon is about to be taken out. If you live on a major fault zone and Jesus is telling you that that's how this is going to happen, that may be something to think about, guys. Now, let's go to Isaiah chapter 17, just a moment. There's a lot of good information in this chapter. This is, again, King James Version, Isaiah 17. The burden of Damascus, behold, Damascus is taken away from being a city, and it shall be a ruinous heap. The cities of Ar are forsaken. Ar is Jordan. They shall be for flocks which shall lie down, and none shall make them afraid. The fortress also shall cease from Ephraim, and the kingdom from Damascus, and the remnant of Syria. They shall be as the glory of the children of Israel, saith the Lord of hosts. Why, there's going to be a lot of good people there. There is right now. A lot of them are refugees from war. And that in that day it shall come to pass that the glory of Jacob shall be made thin, and the fatness of his flesh shall wax lean. At this time, guys, if I'm not mistaken, Jacob was fighting against Israel, or Judah. And it shall be as when the harvestman gathereth the corn, and reapeth the ears with his arms, and it shall be as he that gathereth ears in the valley of Rephaim. Yet gleaning grapes shall be left in it, as the shaking of an olive tree, 2 or 3 berries in the top of the uppermost bough, 4 or 5 in the outmost fruitful branches thereof, saith the Lord God of Israel. He's talking about his elect. In that day shall a man look to his maker. Why? Because the whole world just got rocked. And these people there, I saw a couple of comments from people on Twitter that have been in that area and know people there, and they're saying that today they have met God. Think about that. They have turned. It says, at that day shall a man look to his maker, and his eyes shall have respect to the Holy One of Israel. And he shall not look to the altars, the work of his hands, neither shall he respect that which his fingers have made, either the grooves or the images. Why? It's going to be collapsing anyway, and he's going to realize what's important, and he's going to see what's coming. There won't be much attention paid to anything else. This is how close we are. Look at what we just saw at the beginning of this video. It says, in that day shall the strong cities be a forsaken bough, and an uppermost branch which they left because of the city or the children of Israel, and there shall be desolation. That branch, the uppermost branch, the children of Israel. You're watching, you are the children of Israel. And when I say that, I'm not talking about any of the specific tribes, Judah or anybody else. There are 12 tribes of Israel. But there are election among them all. Because thou hast forgotten the God of thy salvation, and hast not been mindful of the rock of thy strength. Therefore shalt thou plant pleasant plants, and shalt set it with strange slips. Guys, like the tares. But go back to the beginning, because thou hast done what? Forgotten the God of thy salvation, and has not been mindful of the rock of thy strength. And you look at this demonic stuff that's going on, not only mainstream media, politics, Hollywood, war. It's the entire mindset of a good deal of the population of this planet. You don't have to be directly involved to be caught up in it. Are you paying attention? You don't have to be evil to be lazy. And I'm saying lazy in the fact that you're saying, well, I just don't have time. I don't feel like fooling with trying to study the Bible today. I'll wait till next year, or next week, or whatever it is. You may want to start paying attention to it, because it's really the battle plan of the end times. And when you read something like this and you see what you're seeing across the planet right now, you've got to realize where you're at and how short time is. It says, woe to the multitude of many people which make a noise like the noise of seas, and to the rushing of nations that make a rushing like the rushing of mighty waters. The nations shall rush like the rushing of many waters, but God shall rebuke them. What is he talking about? War. And the destruction of everything, our kids, our health, everything, our churches. This rushing of many waters. But God shall rebuke them, and they shall flee far off, and shall be chased as the chaff of the mountains before the wind, and like a rolling thing before the whirlwind. And behold, at eventide trouble, and before the morning he is not. This is the portion of them that spoil us, and the lot of them that rob us. In 1 hour, Babylon will fall. Trouble at night, before the morning he is not. That's how quick this is about to happen for all of you on the West Coast. San Andreas is tied to all of this. If you look at a map, just look at the tectonic plate system of the planet, you'll see they're all tied together. Mid-Atlantic plate is tied all the way through the Caribbean into the Pacific plate. All of it's tied. When it shifts, it is all going to shift. When we're talking about this. And when Christ returns, it will be with a rod of iron. Think about it. What side do you want to be on? It's kind of like watching that video earlier of the Russian artillery. Except this is going to be so much different. God works in supernatural ways, which are more natural. But he will use this army that has been gathered and is being gathered now to take down Babylon. So get your house in order. Make sure you're thinking about what is important. And what did Christ say about the two laws that if you live by those 2 laws, you can forget the entire rest of the Bible almost. And all those laws was to love your God with all your heart and to treat your fellow people the way you want to be treated. And if you do that, the rest is going to fall in line, right? You're being nice, you're helping anybody that's in trouble, just the way that Jesus would have done it. So that's the time to turn, and our days are getting short, so pay attention. We here are fortunate. The folks there that have been crushed in this quake, their time now is moving on into the spiritual life. But they've known it. That's old civilizations that are there. And again, a lot of them are refugees. And we do know that people are going to be gathered from all 4 corners, both good and bad. But guys, again, we're watching this. You pay attention to it. Keep your eyes open. San Andreas, it's a heads up. Be safe.